Hello, this is Andy Kowalczyk, and welcome to the June edition of PASD Monthly. PHS held its graduation commencements on June 4th. We are proud of our senior accomplishments and recognition. Before they graduated, I asked a few seniors what they remember most about their time at Pinconning Schools.
I'm Winona. My favorite part of school is making friends and memories.
My name's Mackenzie, and my favorite part of school was playing basketball. Madison Schultz, my favorite memory was the homecoming game.
Lexi Boulders, my favorite memory is volleyball camp.
Lexi Drous, my favorite memory is our soccer win streak this year.
I'm Alexis Brandt. I'm a senior at Pinconning High School, and my favorite memory was prom of 2024.
Serenity Islets and Career Center. Kennedy Cloutier, Career Center.
Jamie Bartron, football games.
We will now hear from students involved in the Pinconning High School United Way chapter with a great event coming this fall. We are here with Summer Pummelville and Norman Olar. We're going to talk a little bit about United Way. So first, Summer, tell me about the United Way chapter that we have here at Pinconning High School.
So our chapter is the only one in the county, and that is a really big deal. So we have done different events, like we made ceramic bowls, and then we had ice cream at Studio 23, and we've also done Day of Caring and other little community service projects.
Great. So there's a cool event that's going to happen in the fall called the Greatest Race. Tell me a little about that.
So it should be happening around September 28th so that all schools within the area can participate in this event.
So what's it going to be? What's going to happen?
Basically, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt in a way in Bay City. So, and your goal is to try to be the first team to make it to the end.
Cool. So who can participate?
Anybody can participate.
All students from Pinconning schools can participate. Teams of what? How many?
It said 3 to 5, but 4 is probably like a good ideal
Yeah.
number, so it's like evenly matched, I guess you could say. And they're gonna have GoPros, so when you're going around town, and they're gonna like live stream it, I think at different places we've talked about, so that everybody can like watch, and then parents can watch you like along the sidelines and cheer you on. And you're gonna need a $250 sponsor from a local business or a business in Bay City, and they have you fill out a form so nobody has like a duplicate of a sponsor.
Good. Great. Norman, how do students join our United Way chapter here at Pinconning?
They were sent a link on email, so from there they can join and form teams, and I believe also their sponsors.
Oh, on there too? Cool. Yeah, even if they don't want to do the Greatest Race, which is going to be a lot of fun, they could still join and do the other fun activities throughout the year. It's a great group. Anything else about United Way?
No.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, guys. Recently, the Pinconning High School Athletic Department had some noteworthy success. Kinsey Jacobs and Tess Casicho participated at the state championship for track and field. Cole Brady participated in the Division III state championship golf tournament. And finished tied for 4th. Our baseball team was crowned regional champions for the first time since 2014 and lost to a tough team from Charlevoix in the quarterfinal. Great job to all of our Spartans. The 23-24 school year was the final year of education for 4 members of the Pinconning area school family. We wish a happy retirement to Luann Grove, Judy Brookhouse, Matt Coughlin, and Keith Rogers. You may remember our interview with Saginaw Spirit goalie Andrew Oak in the March 24 episode. Andrew was the winning goalie a few weeks ago when the Saginaw Spirit won the Memorial Cup. This is a great accomplishment, and I hope you had a chance to hear Andrew in that interview. This month's interview is with the one and only comedian extraordinaire, Rob Little. I am here with Rob Little. Hi, Rob.
Hey, buddy.
Tell us first about yourself a little bit, some of your hobbies and what you like to do. Anything interesting, maybe some collections.
So my name's Rob Little. I'm originally from Pinconning, Michigan. I grew up here. I graduated in 1991 from Pinconning. Went to Mount Forest School. We didn't have middle school back then, so we started high school in 8th grade. And then went on to Delta College and got my associates. And then I went to Central Michigan and got my bachelor's in computer science and management information systems, and yeah, and then I went on and did work for General Motors and stuff like that.
How about hobbies?
Oh,
Interesting
hobbies.
stuff.
So I've never collected anything. I just got my first house, so now I got space for hobbies, and I didn't know everything I started collecting was things that people given me, like they gave me first, and I was just like, this is a thing, and then I just started being like into it. So I love fishing, but I don't love it nearly as much as it looks like I love fishing. So I guess I'll start the low way. I collect these fishy. They're bottles that are shaped like fish, and I don't know if you ever heard of a bottle tree. They're big in the South. It looks like a Christmas tree, but it's made of bottles.
Yep.
Well, I decided that I'm welding together this big fish jumping out of the water, and the bottles are gonna be the scales, and I'm gonna have it all lit up and stuff. So I collect those bottles, and they come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, and then I collect fishing like inflatables for Christmas time. So I had 76 of them this year. All over my yard, on my roof, everything. The news came out and did a story on me about it. Like, all my neighbors love it because they're all old people in Florida. That's where I live now, in Florida. And so, yeah, that's one thing I collect. And then I collect fishing Santas. So I think I have like 60 some of those. And then I collect fishing nutcrackers. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest one. I have almost 300. I didn't even know they made them.
No.
And then somebody gave me one, and I was like, these are awesome. And now it's like it's like a Pokemon hunt for me now. I'm just looking for them everywhere. But that, and then my garage, which I think you saw, is I collect vintage lighted ice cream signs. And it's funny because I turned my garage into a gym, and it's ice cream signs everywhere.
Working out for ice cream.
Yeah, it's like you gotta have goals.
That's awesome. All right. Well, tell me what you remember from Pinconning schools. Do you have some favorite memories?
Yeah, man, we had tons of memories. I mean, we were phenomenal in sports back then. Our senior year, at least, we were really good. We were conference champs in football, and then I loved baseball. I loved basketball the best, but I was too fast, so I couldn't play. So I wrestled, but I played basketball up to 10th grade. Mm-hmm. And then, the sports was a big thing. Friends were a big thing. I remember, I don't know if this is still big at school or not, but like all of us working on the floats for homecoming and stuff. That was, I remember that being one of the funnest things ever. Like proms were always really fun. I mean, there's a lot of cool memories, like, I don't know if you guys still do this. I don't know why I remember this, but I just thought this was really cool. How we used to give out flowers, like it was just for dances and stuff like that.
Yeah, fundraisers.
Yeah, and it was like you'd buy them for your friends and stuff, and it didn't matter who you gave them to and stuff. But it was cool to get them. What else? I loved lunch.
Remember those French fries? Those things, the fries they used to give us, and those homemade cookies.
I just remember the cookies, and I remember learning. This is gonna make me sound horrible, but I remember learning to hide one or two of them under the mashed potatoes. And the lunch ladies loved fat kids, so they would just be like, "Oh, he's adorable." So they would hook me up all the time back then. I remember there were some restaurants. Can kids go off campus?
Yeah, high school can.
We never did that though, hardly ever.
Because the food was good in the cafeteria.
Yeah, we liked it.
Tell us about your college experience and then your current and past careers.
So in college, I went to Delta first, and I remember the thing I remember most about Delta was we didn't live that far from it. I still lived at home when I was going there, but I would have classes like at 8 a.m. and then my next class would be like 8 p.m. and I would just stay there all day, playing cards in the cafeteria or whatever, doing homework, whatever it was. But I don't know why I never left and just went home. It was ridiculous. So that was cool, but that paled in comparison to how awesome it was when I went to Central Michigan. I mean, we didn't have money. That wasn't a thing in our family. I was the only person ever to go to college until my nephew recently. So going away to Central was a big deal, I thought. And I wanted to live like the real college life, so I lived in a dorm, and I was like a junior already, so I was like old man in the dorm. I was 21, but I joined a fraternity right away because I was like, I want to live the college life, and thank God I joined it when I did, because, you know, I know we live in a different world now, but, you know, like Animal House was a big movie, and like I really thought it was funny and stuff, and I thought, man, if that's what it's like, I want to join it. And it was a lot like that for me. It's so different nowadays, the things you can and can't do, and I don't think I would have joined if it was like it is nowadays. They really got rid of a lot of the fun, the crazy things you do and stuff, and it's you know, I know there's people that take it too far, but we didn't do that.
Yeah,
we would just have fun, you know.
But some people that did ruined it for everybody.
Ruined it for everybody. It
comes down to.
sucks, man. But we did a lot of fun things. We used to, like, we'd have pledge events. When you were a pledge in a fraternity, you'd do events every week. And one of them was we had to go around to all the sorority houses and sing our songs. We had like 5 songs, and we'd sing whatever. And it was super fun, and it kind of built camaraderie back then, you know, because we all went through it together. But I mean, for me, my fraternity was a big part of college, even though I got decent grades and got my degree and stuff. But I don't know, that was, to me, that was like probably my favorite time of my life. It was so fun. Yeah.
And computers, right? You were.
Yeah, I was a computer guy, and it was kind of cool because there was guys in my fraternity that were in it too, and they were ahead of me. So they would be like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna probably be doing that." So we helped each other out too. Yeah. That was a big. That's the part that you don't see in the fraternity because the other stuff kind of overshadows it. But
so I know you had a couple jobs doing your computer stuff, but then you, within that time, moved into your comedy career.
Well, can I just say this real quick? Is one thing I think kids don't ever think to look into in college is the co-op experience, because they will go out and find you jobs in the degree that you're working towards. And that's what Delta did for me. Delta got me a job at Dow Chemical in their computer group, and once I transferred to Central, I stayed in it.
Awesome.
And it worked out. It like built my resume. My resume looks so good compared to. I was doing things that the teachers weren't even doing. So that was right. This makes us sound old, but that was when the internet was just kind of getting started, and they were doing websites and stuff. And I knew way more than my teachers. And I remember, this was kind of ridiculous. I remember when I got into my appendix ruptured, and I missed a whole semester. And they said, we'll let you catch up if you build us a website for the computer group at Central Michigan. I'm telling you, if it took me a day, it wasn't even that. And I just said it took me the whole semester, and it was like amazing, and they loved it. Yeah. So I just, like, for kids, please check out the co-op job if you want to get some work experience in what you're going towards and see what the real world's doing. Because, I mean, they were, you know, the schools try to teach you the best they can, but they're not out there. For that technology, that was evolving every day, you know, so it's hard to stay on the cusp of that. But
so then moving to comedy, tell us a little bit about that transition. And
well, I think this was funny. I didn't remember doing this, but somebody emailed this to me. In our senior yearbooks, we had to make predictions of what we would do in life, and I predicted I'm going to go to college, get my computer degree, and then I'm going to be like the best comedian I can be, and that's exactly what I did.
Awesome.
So after college, I moved to Detroit, Michigan, or Royal Oak actually, and I was working for a job down there, and I moved right next to the biggest comedy club in the state, and I didn't know it, but we were hanging out at a club one night, and there was passes for open mic night, and I goes, oh my God, there's a comedy club here? And the bartender's like, it's right next door, which happened to be like 4 blocks from my house where I was living. And so I basically lived up there, and I would ask every comedian that came off stage that I thought was funny, I would be like, how did you get started? Well, one of the guys was like a local comic that taught classes, and it was only a 2-day class, and he said it wasn't even like how to be funny, it was more the business side of it that people don't see. It's just way more harder they go, oh, you only work a half hour or an hour a night, and I'm like, I wish that's all it was. But so it was a 2-day class. He goes, you're going up next Sunday, and I was, you only had to have 3 minutes, and I would go home and practice in the mirror with a brush because I wasn't using it, and so
Why'd you have a brush?
I can't believe I had a brush. But I was practicing, and I remember going over to all the neighbor girls and practicing, and I went up, and I ended up doing 12 minutes. We're only supposed to do 3.
They let you go.
Well, I didn't know. They were lighting me, but I didn't know.
Oh.
So, and they taught us that in the class too. And I bought a brand new watch that day and everything. And when I practiced it, I had 3 minutes, but I didn't take into effect that anybody would laugh. So you have to let
wait.
pauses
Yep.
and stuff.
Yep.
And every joke got a laugh, and I was just like, oh my god. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced something like this, but the very first joke I told, I don't know if I've ever told you this. When I told the joke, it got a big laugh, and it felt like somebody poured warm paint over my head, like that
Just flush.
consistency.
Yep.
And I felt crazy calm after that. And I was like,
It's gonna be okay.
This is what I'm doing the rest of my life.
Huh.
And like a year and a half later, I'd quit my day job, and then a year later after that, I moved to LA. And I've been 26 years now. I've been doing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did Pinconning High School prepare you for your career or college?
High school. Well, for me, I was always the funny guy. I mean, we were always trying to be. But you were too. You were very funny, and so was Bert. Like there was us 4 best friends were all like the funny guys in the group. So it was, it was like a stage for me. Even though I wasn't in drama or anything, high school was a stage for me because even the teachers were all like, to this day, the teachers still come out to shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They roasted me one time. Almost every teacher came out and roasted me that one weekend.
We did have speech class, though. You remember that?
Okay, so that was a cool story. I don't know if you
No,
remember
go ahead.
this. So we had speech class, and I can't remember the teacher's name.
Warzinski.
He was also the drama
Yes.
coach.
Yep.
And he made me do this thing for every one of his classes. Do you remember this?
I remember.
So I don't know if we were in the same class or not together, but we had to do a speech where we just kind of improv'd it or something. I can't remember what it was called, but he'd give us themes, right?
Yeah.
Well, mine was I went up and I pretended to be Ronald Reagan. I did a bunch of impressions back then. So I would pretend to be Ronald Reagan at the podium, and then I'd run out into the class and ask questions as other characters. And then run back up and be Ronald answering the questions.
Got it.
He was so excited about that he got me out of every one of my classes, and I did it for every
Show
class.
everybody else.
And then he begged me to join drama after that, and none of my friends were in it, which sucks because I should have just did it. But I was in sports, and you couldn't be in both, so that's what was a tough thing.
And, it's funny now you can, like, almost all the kids do multiple things.
Really?
Because the school is like half the size when we were there.
Really?
So now, soccer players, baseball players, track.
But how do you miss practicing?
The Mrs. Liga, the drama instructor, she works around it. She makes sure practices are, when they can.
Really?
They really
That's
work at it so
awesome.
that students can do it. Yeah, it's great.
If they would have did that, 100% would have
Yeah.
did that.
Yep.
Yep.
Did you think your
You know what
career-
else?
Oh,
I don't know if you guys still do this, but I know you did it with me. So, remember Mock Rock?
Yeah.
Do they still do that?
No. And
God.
I've actually talked to a few people about tell us
If you don't
about
know what
Mock
Mock, we call it Mock Rock, and today it's lip sync battles. Is what they call them, and they'll like do songs and you just lip sync it and stuff. But back then we built stages and everything. Like we would have we had to make guitars and drums, but we just did it out of wood, whatever you had to make it look like it, And we did Queen one year, and I think we could do up to 3 songs if we wanted to. We did in our senior year, but I think we only did 2
Yeah,
our junior
yeah.
year. But that was such a fun thing, man.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Glee Club, almost, but we weren't doing the real singing. We were just lip syncing, and we dressed up like the bands and stuff. It was so fun, man. And then we ended up doing that in my fraternity against other fraternities, and
With my idea, you did. And
we did
won.
one of them.
Yeah, the Robert Plant.
Yep, I made all of our pledges. I forgot that was your idea. That was when I made all of our pledges dress up
that's
as
awesome.
the girls, and it was so fun. And then we won. We won every
I
year we
remember you
played.
won.
Yeah, but we didn't win with that one. We won with a different one, Ice Ice Baby, and then we also did Holding Out for a Hero the next year.
Yeah, and it's funny that even colleges used to do that, and now you don't hear or see it.
Well, they don't really promote it. It's just like for us, it was just
Oh.
between the Greek system.
But I think it could be a good fundraiser now for the high school, a group of the
Oh,
high
I didn't
school.
even think about it as a fundraiser.
Yeah, because you pay $5 to get in or something. You make $500-$600.
Yeah.
To watch kids do what they want to do.
Yeah,
have
and
fun.
it was fun, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you get people that get into it. We were all super into it,
Yeah,
so
it was fun. Did you think your career would go in the direction it is in now? I mean, you kind of answered that by having that in the yearbook where you said yes, but
you know what though? I never thought it'd
No.
happen. No, because we're from a one light
Yeah,
town. Back
yeah.
then, it was only one light, and you're like, that doesn't happen to people like us. So I to be honest, I thought I was gonna end up working at Dow the rest of my life, and just live here and get married or whatever. I don't know.
But even when you were working at Dow and going to college, you were still going to comedy clubs and loving the comedy. So it was
Because-
always there.
Yeah.
That this is something. So was there motivation that helped you get to where you are today, where you're booked, year round and
Yeah,
going all
man.
over the country?
Well, when it's something you love, you work really
Yeah.
hard on it. Yeah. I mean, when it happened, I was just like, going out of my mind. But it was so different from when you started to what it is now. When you start, it's a hobby and you love it and you're just having fun doing it. But when it becomes something you have to make a living at,
Yeah.
and I mean, I've done a lot with it, man. I've had my own
Oh,
charity.
Yes.
I had like
okay.
a charity for it. And we did that for like 5-6
Yep.
years, and we helped out a bunch of families at Christmas time and stuff. And then, I've done tons of benefits and stuff like that.
Lots.
But it's a lot different now. And the traveling, people have no idea.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, you're on vacation. I'm like, man, you have no idea. Because it's the stuff they don't see that we have to go through, especially like the politics with just getting bookings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, you see my schedule and you look at and try to compare another comic to me. They don't work nearly hard as I do. But there's give and takes with that too. Like I don't have a family. I don't have. So you see other people and you guys are off doing fun things with your kids and stuff, and I'm like, I don't have that. I'm the entertainment for you
Yeah,
guys when you
right.
show up, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I do a ton of cruises. I think I'm at 276 cruises now.
Wow.
That sounds like a lot, but I just worked with a magician that's done 700. And something. I was like, wow. I go, what was Noah like? Like you've done a lot. But I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. No, this is good. Do you remember any important lessons from high school that still apply to your life today? Like, was there anything in a class or in a sport, something that maybe you still have to, follow?
Well, I'm not one of those people that do the what if game. I don't like when they're like, what if this happens? And I hear it from people all the time. Like, oh, you do a cruise, but what if this? I'm like, I can't live that way. I would never leave the house if I lived that
That's
way.
awesome.
I gotta go out and do it. And if it happens, it happens. I mean, it was meant to happen then. Whatever. Especially, it's always negative. They never say, what if
Oh, yeah.
all of a sudden this happened and it was really good, They always go negative, and I'm the complete opposite. I'm always trying to go the positive route. That's why
Didn't you get some award, the most,
Yeah.
what was it? The most positive, or it wasn't most positive?
Happiest comic in
Yeah.
America by Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
that's- Going to your shows, I mean, that's what you see.
And then even when I worked at McDonald's through high school, I got those 3 awards. I won at McDonald's. I won Mr. McSmile, and then Mr. McService was the big one. But that was all because I was positive.
Is there anything you wish you did differently in high school?
Yeah, I wish I would have joined drama.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I would have, because it would have been. I think I would have had really fun doing. I would have had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, we did a lot.
You'd always say I wish I would have lost weight, because I've lost weight and gained it back so many times in my life. I wish I would have lost it in high school.
How about that perm? You still happy with that perm?
Yeah,
decision?
perm
Yeah?
was a
Okay.
big part of me back then. I know everybody makes fun of that too, and I still keep the pictures on my phone because they don't believe it. But it's funny. Like you've had hair a lot longer than I did, because I lost mine at like 19, but I was bald up till 3 when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I've been alive longer without hair than with it, way longer. Yeah, I just wasn't meant for it. And I think the perms was God's way of saying you don't deserve hair. Like, what are you doing? Like this perm mullet. But when mullets came back, I was so excited. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. You seeing these kids wearing them again? I don't know.
Is there any fun stories from the comedy world, from your being on the road or doing things that you'd like to share? That would be
My favorite ones are like getting to hang out with I hung out with this band Pantera one time. I wasn't into them at all. They were a little too heavy for me, but it was the funnest night ever, man. They took me out to some clubs and we ended up back at their mansion, and like they had a pool in the shape of a drink, and it was just like it was so cool. It felt like I was a rock star that night because they were treating me like that because they just saw me perform, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're so cool! You're coming with us." One time I got to work with Louis Anderson before he passed, and he did something. This was like right when I was first starting out, and I've never seen another comic do this before. I was his opening act. He brought me back out after I was done, and he was starting. Like I introduced him, he comes out and he goes, "I'd left the stage," which is what you're supposed to do. He calls me back out and made the audience give me a standing ovation.
really.
And that was my first one, and I was just like, you can do that? Like, I didn't know even that was a thing, but
So cool.
I've never seen another comic do, never a big name do that for somebody, you know. That was super cool. He was such a nice guy, man. Like when I did The Price is Right, I was on The Price is Right one time, and Drew Carey's the host. Well, I know him, and we do shows together all the time when I lived in LA. So he was like not talking to me. Did I tell you this story? He was not talking to me, and I'm like, why is he not talking to me? And we went to commercial, and he said, well, if they think I know you, then they could say it's set up. And so when it came time, I got to spin the big wheel, and he went to commercial again before we used to do it. And he goes, are you going to say hi to anybody? And I said, I'd love to say hi to you, but apparently we're not friends. So. And this is my craziest story in New York. So I was playing the Comedy Cellar, which is like the club.
Yeah.
And I was on the midnight show. She always put me on the midnight shows. And I was like, oh, she must not like me. That's the show.
Oh.
In New York, that's when all the big names come in because they do their booked shows where they can make their money at some theater or something at 8 p.m. But at midnight, they come down there just to hang and do a set or whatever they want, right? Yeah. Well, one night I'm actually in the sweet spot. I'm fourth, which is like the spot to be in when there's like several comics. Well, the first 3 went on, and so I'm getting ready to go on, and Dave Attell walks in. Now, I don't know if you know him. Yeah. So Dave Attell used to have his own Comedy Central show. He's a big comic in the comedy world. He goes on, does 45 minutes. Now, at this point, I'm bumped. That's any other club in the country. If somebody big name comes in, you're bummed. And I just assumed I was bummed. But I'm going to stay and watch because I love Dave Attell. He does 45 minutes. Dave Chappelle walks in. So he's going on next. He does 45, 50 minutes. Now it's almost 3 a.m. Because there's already been 3-4 comics before me. They come up to me and go, okay, you're next. Normally I would have just left, but it was 2 guys I was like, I want to see him work. It was a good thing I stayed and watched because I went up and they go, you're next. And I just kind of looked at them and I said, I thought I was bumped. And they're like, well, do you want it or not? You don't say no.
No.
Because you say no, then you're showing fear, and they're just like, well, this guy isn't serious about this. We ain't putting him on again, you know. So I say, yeah. And I'm in my head, I'm over in the corner going, well,
you're following 2 of the greatest.
Dave Chappelle's the GOAT, man. This is the best one, you know, that This was in 2018 or 17. So I'm like, I'm gonna go up and eat it now for 20 minutes or however long I get. They'll probably give me the light quicker. So I go on, and thank God I watched Chappelle, because his whole act, he was working on stuff about all he has are friends. He's so rich now that he only has white friends. And then every joke, he would hit himself with the mic. Like it was it was almost like a punchline for him. He'd be like, after every joke, right? I don't know why that was his thing. So I go up there, and the crowd's just like, who is this?
Yeah, right.
Right? And I go, yes, I know what you're all thinking. And they're thinking like, who's this guy? I go, I'm one of Dave's new friends, because I'm the white guy, you know. And the crowd just erupted. And in that room's not much bigger than your kitchen. Like it's a tiny club. And then they all start laughing, so I start laughing, and I start hitting myself with the mic. And then I look at the mic and I go, he got that from me. And then the crowd erupted again. And I was like, thank God I watched them, because I would have ate it.
Yeah.
And then I ended up doing great, because they gave me they're like, oh, this guy's the real deal. He's funny.
Yep.
So they were nice to me about that after. And there's a, oh man, I'm going to forget his last name now. He was the head writer for The Tonight Show for Jay Leno. His name's Jack Cohen. Now, you probably don't know him by name, but when we were growing up, there used to be a show called Friday Night Videos.
Yep.
And they would show comedians on it. And he was always on it. And I just remember thinking he was the funniest guy ever. And he was always in my top 5 guys.
Really?
People wouldn't even know who he was. And he kind of quit doing comedy once he became the head writer for Jay Leno. Well, he was at the Comedy and Magic one night. And I walk in, and I'm like, hey, everybody. And I literally just, my jaw dropped. And he's looking back at me, and I'm like, you're Jack Cohen? And he goes, yeah. And he couldn't believe I knew his name.
Huh.
And I was like, you were like my favorite comedian growing up. And you could just tell.
It meant something to him.
Yes, because nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God,
Wow.
it was so cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate it.
How long does these normally go for? Do you?
5-10 minutes.
So no, you have to really.
So we're at
edit this.
34.
You really
no,
have to
we'll be
edit.
good. No. So thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. Rock, can I say my website and all
Yeah,
that stuff?
absolutely.
RobLittle.com. I'm on all the social media too. It's just Rob Little. You can search for it. I have a new special coming out. I shot the last show at the State Theater.
Oh, cool.
And so it's called Last Date at the State. And I've never told anybody yet, so this is the first time. It's coming out soon. You can get a digital download off my website and all that stuff. And then, so that's cool, man.
Good.
And then I'm working on that animated movie still. So I wrote an animated movie during the pandemic. It's called Voles, Moles, and Rigamaroles. And my agent's still talking to the guy out there.
That's awesome.
There's a guy at Pixar that loves it, but I'm like, why don't they just buy it then?
Yeah.
But I guess because it's my project, they want me to come with it more. So whatever, I don't know.
Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, buddy.
I hope you have enjoyed the 23-24 episodes of PASD Monthly. If you have suggestions for alumni interviews, please send me a message at kowalczyka@pasd.org. I hope you enjoyed your summer, and we will be back with the PASD Monthly in August to start a new school year.